What's up, you Invincible Kings? Wondering what the best e-commerce platform is? For almost a decade, I've been building e-commerce sites, platforms, web services, and have often pondered the true answer to this. I've always been building on WordPress, but recently I've tried Shopify. I'm your host, David Aladdin, and you're listening to episode 79. As of recently, I've come to the solid conclusion as to which is better. In this episode, we deep dive into why Shopify's bested the Woocommerce and WordPress platform, and why I think you should use it too. Woocommerce. Oh, how much potential you have, yet so much headaches and potential security issues that you present. Woocommerce is an awesome platform to get started and even for experts to build an e-commerce store. Don't get me wrong. Its core platform, WordPress, is free. Woocommerce, which was recently acquired by Automattic, the developers of WordPress, both are distributed for free. So what happened? The first question you need to ask yourself is, are you selling physical products or digital goods? For most of us, we are selling physical products from Amazon, and we're looking to diversify our portfolio onto our website. So you guys are selling physical goods. I prefer WooCommerce for digital goods and Shopify for physical goods. What is WooCommerce? WooCommerce has many strengths. If you're using it, you'll start to notice what I'm talking about, including the fact that it easily installs on WordPress. It's free, it's installable. Core operating system is free too, to hundreds of thousands of websites that actually deploy on the web today. In addition, WordPress is fully customizable with themes, plugins, and every single aspect of your website. Out of the box, it comes very polished as well, with reporting, product creation, and flexible to work with most WordPress themes. In terms of how many themes WordPress has thousands of free themes and thousands of paid themes. In fact, it's very saturated, especially if you're a developer getting into that space. For plugins, WordPress has thousands of free plugins and thousands of premium plugins, usually free plugins to get you into the premium plugins that are usually one-time payments, and then if you want updates, you have to pay. So Shopify, on the other hand, has thousands of paid apps and maybe 100 or so free apps. And in terms of themes, Shopify has about 10 themes at most for free, and then the rest are premium themes. So knowing this, you can make a little bit of a better decision. I used to use WooCommerce on my private label brand. It used to power my e-commerce site until I started to realize the major potential flaws and headaches that came with it. For one, WooCommerce claims that it's free, but most of the functionality that exists in plugins for WooCommerce cost an average of $70 a year. So it's not really free. And a lot of the functionality, like adding subscriptions to your website, there's a lot of little individual parts to WooCommerce that you pretty much need to have on your website, but you have to pay that $70. So in the end, it's not free to use as a platform unless you really want a basic e-commerce store that doesn't do much. So when major core areas of your functionality cost $70 a year, it gets pretty frustrating year after year buying these upgrades, which are very glitchy. Like lots of times, one update will break another plugin that is part of your core functionality. And so you've got this chain reaction of things breaking down. That's not to say that you have to pay for the update, but usually when you don't pay for the upgrade, you get a lot of things breaking down, you get security vulnerabilities, and we'll talk about why that's a big issue. So now, just because your WooCommerce plugins go out of date, you also have WordPress plugins that go out of date. Now imagine 5 to 10 plugins going out of date every single week. And the WooCommerce ones that are $70 a year. You potentially have all this conflicting plugins that don't update by themselves. Some of them update outside of the WordPress ecosystem, like plugins from Code Canyon. Becomes a nightmare. Now, that leads to the next issue, security vulnerabilities. It's something that scares me deeply with WooCommerce. When you have an e-commerce portion of your website hosted by WordPress on a shared or dedicated server, you always have the potential of being hacked. My biggest concern was this: if I automated my fulfillment from my e-commerce WordPress site to my FBA storage, I could potentially be screwed one day if my WordPress site was hacked for whatever reason. And yes, there are tons of ways to secure your WordPress site, but in the past decade or so, with all the security plugins like WordFence, Ninja Security, Securi, which is a cloud-based security, the list is long and there's a lot to do there. I've still been hacked. Say it be a WordPress theme glitch, or an unupdated plugin from Code Canyon or WordPress, or just a plugin or a plugin developer just, deciding to do something else with their time, and now you have a plugin that never updates. It happens a lot. Was it me just being lazy, not wanting to update? No, there's definitely a lot of updates always going on inside of WordPress. WordPress has been highly refined over time too, but every add-on that you have requires constant updating. I think you kind of get the point. It's extremely annoying to see 10 different plugins requiring updates each week and then checking all of those plugins to get updated. If you use WordPress, you know the pain that I'm talking about. Then on top of that, sometimes if you update all the plugins at once, you can get that white screen of death, which happens when server SQL database crashes or the plugin is creating errors on your website that conflict with another plugin. So now this is just for plugins. Themes for WordPress require updates too, and even then a security flaw may leave your WordPress installation vulnerable if a hacker is able to get into your WordPress e-commerce site. Fulfilled by Amazon, they could essentially create a purchase order for 1,000 units from your WordPress site, and then you'd have a major nightmare on your hands. Hackers could send 1,000 units or 10,000 units of your inventory, and you could be out of a lot of money. And that's the biggest fear that I've been constantly having, that potential day that the WordPress site gets hacked and then all my inventory is gone. And so that's why I decided to try Shopify. It's completely hosted on the Shopify side. They manage the security of that e-commerce site. So even though I had this bulletproof website security, there was still that small chance that my WordPress site could get hacked, and thus my conquest to discover a better solution began. 5 months ago, I tried Shopify. Running an e-commerce business is night and day on Shopify compared to Woocommerce. No longer was I spending a ton of time updating random plugins with the fear that I might get hacked. I could see major differences in the Shopify workflow compared to Woocommerce and WordPress. And no longer was I having to go to Woocommerce.com to repay licenses for outdated plugins as the years went by. As I entered Shopify, there was a design aspect of the dashboard that made building an e-commerce store fun again, and launching products the number one priority. Similar to FBA, like our number one priority is to launch really successful products, and trying to get rid of all the friction away from the actual technology aspect of listing products. With WooCommerce, it felt like they included the bare minimum so that you'd have to buy the premium plugins year after year. It's kind of like a trick. Upon signing up with Shopify, it took the headache out of the e-commerce. It ran faster, product creation was faster, inventory management was easier, but more importantly, the power of Shopify lied within the developer community. Everything worked as expected for the few apps that I currently have running on my Shopify store. Unlike plugins, Shopify uses apps to connect your store. Sort of the same thing, but I believe those apps update by themselves and outside of the view of the Shopify store owner. The installation process was a click of the button. The first app I used created all of my Amazon listings in one click into my Shopify store. Literally within minutes of installing, I had 18 product listings created on Shopify from Amazon, and my inventory counts were synced. So I had 18 listings with their respective inventory synced across from Amazon to Shopify while being secured behind the Shopify platform. Everything with Shopify worked as expected. And with that first app that synced the inventory, it didn't take care of the fulfillment. So if an order was placed on Shopify, it didn't get sent over to FBA to send to that customer. I'd been using Ecom Dash for a while to fulfill my orders from Amazon to eBay. I had tried Ecom Dash with FBA to Woocommerce. The problem was customers were buying on Woocomerce at the time, and Ecom Dash wasn't fulfilling these orders. Woocommerce had this annoying interface between orders paid, fulfilled, and shipped. For whatever reason, orders were being paid, but they weren't being shipped automatically, even though I had the Ecom Dash to Woocommerce set up. So there's this glitch that was happening that the orders weren't being completed inside of Woocommerce, and I spent so many days trying to figure it out, and I still haven't figured it out. It was one of the other worries about Woocommerce. I wanted my customers to get their items shipped the second they placed the order on Woocommerce. It would send it to FBA, and FBA would send that product to them. Again, these are the headaches that you have with WordPress, and they happen a lot. When I installed Ecom Dash app to Shopify, it completely synced, and when orders are placed on Shopify, my FBA inventory is now shipping it out to those customers. Everything is working as expected. It's beautiful. So now I can just keep adding more products into my store on both Amazon and Shopify. Furthermore, my FBA inventory is safer protected behind Shopify than my WordPress installation. Yes, Shopify can get hacked as a platform, but that's way less likely, and their fellow 200,000 users would also be in big trouble too. Now, their app system doesn't just stop working there. Although most apps are monthly per based apps, I am much happier to pay $10 a month without having to individually or group update them, and just focus on scaling my business and adding products. I don't want to worry about the security and functionality of an e-commerce site. With WordPress, that was happening every single month, and Shopify runs perfectly. So you can see the pros and cons. What if you had WordPress and WooCommerce installed and you wanted to switch to Shopify? So this is and has been my current situation. I have WordPress installed on the root domain and Shopify on a subdirectory as shop.mydomain.com. By doing so, I'm not messing around with my long existing blog that I've been working on, and it has hundreds of articles. If we were to change the URLs here, it could affect my SEO, and I don't really want to touch that because it's performing well as a blog. So what I've done is I've just added that subdirectory and pointed my A names to Shopify's IP address. So simply put, I kept my traffic-driven articles where they are. I've set up it such that the WordPress as a blogging platform is the root directory, and I have the Shopify as a subdirectory. And it's been working pretty good. And for people to get into my Shopify store, they just go into the tab on my website at domain.com. Shopify does cost a bit more to run, but that's the price I'm willing to pay for peace of mind. Okay, guys, now for your news flash briefing. Amazon Go is just what Amazon needs for its next $600 billion opportunity, according to NASDAQ.com.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple.
And the article continues to say, Ferris Bueller said it best, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. When the venerable character played Matthew Broderick was talking about the life of a teenager, he just as well may have been talking about what Amazon is doing to slowly take over the U.S. grocery market as its next big target. Amazon is a company that is largely dependent on growth, constantly looking for new areas to expand into. That's why, despite having a market cap of nearly $360 billion, it earned just 52 cents a share in the third quarter. It takes nearly all of its operating cash flow, which CEO Jeff Bezos and his team believe is a better way to value the company and reinvest in various areas. Earlier this month, Amazon introduced Amazon Go, a reimagining of a grocery store experience, not due to fancier foods or a cheap breakfast buffet bar, but a better in-store experience powered by technology, specifically deep learning and artificial intelligence. Building out Amazon Go and its grocery store initiative isn't going to be cheap. There have been reports that Amazon wants to have 2,000 grocery stores, but it has publicly denied that. Whatever the true number of 1,800 square foot Amazon Go or stores is like, it's going to cost a considerable amount of capital. So shareholders can expect Amazon to continue being in an investment mode for years to come. So what does this all mean, David? I'd say it creates a potential for your products to start being in retail stores. I don't think it's going to happen relatively soon. It could potentially disrupt all of retail if they want to. Imagine sending your goods to Amazon FBA. The Amazon FBA sends their best-selling products, aka Lightning deals and Go deals, to their retail Amazon Go stores. They don't have to just sell groceries. It's like when Amazon first started, they went into books, but they're now into everything. Amazon adding Amazon Go is the next step to the puzzle. They're going to take baby steps, and that's the way to do it. They can stock more than a super Walmart if they wanted to. And this could eventually lead to Amazon Super Go, which sounds pretty funny, where they have tens of thousands of products from Amazon in these Amazon Super Goes across the country. No one thought Walmart could be disrupted. But I also see it as Amazon getting back at Walmart for pushing into the retail with the Jet acquisition. I think they want to push back, and I think they're going to push back into Walmart's territory. In 10 years' time, retail can look completely different than what it looks today. It's like asking us, what did Amazon look like in 2006? It was completely different. In 10 years, so much has happened. This episode of AMZ Secrets is brought to you by our Amazon seller tools. AMZsecrets.com VIP supercharges your Amazon listings. It uses big data from Amazon and Google in a meaningful way to increase the traffic to your Amazon listings. I use them with my brand, and I am personally ranked in the top 5 of some major Amazon categories. It's not a golden bullet, as you need marketing and good brand strategy, but having the ultimate Amazon listings goes a long way. To learn more about it, go to AMZsecrets.com. Myrmidons, I hope you loved the podcast as I did. Be sure to check out our live Facebook mastermind group at amzsecrets.com/FB. There's over 5,000 members in there. Also, I'm looking for guests to come on the show to add more value and more golden nuggets. If interested, go to amzsecrets.com/guest. I know you're out there. Yes, you over there. Lastly, please leave a review on iTunes at amzsecrets.com/review. Every review counts and helps spread the word. This podcast has been written, edited, directed by David 11. Global King in Amazon, Logistics Strategy, and Building Castles. What? David 11, out.